Hello, everybody. Welcome to Luna and the Druid.
I
Welcome.
hope you can see and hear us well. Um,
I hope so too. If there's anything technically playing, let us know. But normally we would be okay. So we see Claire, Susan, Richard,
yes.
and uh, and some other people whose names we cannot see, but the numbers are there. And welcome everybody to
So
this.
lovely to have so many hellos already.
Yeah,
Let me move
and
closer.
we're on our pathway to spiritual healing. Third episode.
Yes.
What are we going to do today? And what have we brought?
Tonight we will talk about how to use tarot or cards in general on a path of healing, because tarot and oracle cards can be a wonderful and a beautiful tool to help yourselves and others.
It is. It is. And we did the first week. The first of our series was beginning June. Healing yourself. Second episode of the Pathways to Spiritual Healing was working with a coach. And tonight we're going to look at how to use tarot and oracle cards, not necessarily as tools for divination, but also for healing. And the tarot acts as a mirror of the soul, representing unconscious beliefs, blockades, but also your strengths, your shadow, the things that needs processing, the things that you can work on for yourself. A tarot spread can all reveal them, and deeper in the spread, you can get answers on what lessons can I learn, what medicine or energy support can I need, and what is my best step forward out of this situation. So tarot and oracle can give you not only um, clarify the questions that you have. Sometimes you have questions, but you're not even aware of them. Show what lies beneath, what lies in the shadow, what lies in the unconscious, and then bring out solutions, paths forward.
Before we jumped into today's topic, to those who are watching us live or rewatching it, please share if you've ever experienced using tarot or experiencing card reading as a tool which helped you on your path of healing. And for those who have their own decks, either tarot or oracle, please make sure you have it handy because there will be an opportunity to use it today as we read the cards. You can do it along with us. So I encourage you to grab your deck. If not, we've got you covered, guys. There will be cards pulled for you tonight.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So when we do that, share in the comments if you have anything you've learned from tarot different than divination, and we're really looking forward to hear from you. Um, yeah, what requires healing? Yeah, most of the times when we look at tarot healing, it's not necessarily immediately for physical healing, but especially the mental and spiritual healing, the healing of the soul, working with the soul, working with uh, ways out of the dark night of the soul, a topic that we have used a lot of times. Tarot gives you deep insight in the soul work, in the shadow work, repressed feelings, denied parts of ourselves, and these cards often um, come in front in the beginning of the reading. Would you have any of these cards that would point to shadow work, Luna?
Well,
Any
first of
present?
all, before I answer to that question, I
Yeah.
just want to mention that because I felt, I don't know, maybe there was somebody's thought, but tarot is not a fixing tool. It's a mirror for remembering. And Within the healing work, we often tend to analyze, solve, or sometimes escape our pain. And tarot works as an invitation to a completely different rhythm. And absolutely, to answer your question, many cards can work as a certain energy. Depends obviously on the spread you're working with. But for example, the star card can signify that there is a need for hope. The death card may signify transformation. I'm not sure if I'm answering actually your question, if
Hmm.
that's what you've been
Yes, you
asking,
do. You do.
and so
Yeah.
on and so on. So the energy tarot brings in every single card and the meaning of the card can be like a pinpoint, like the exact direction within the healing journey. And you will be able to experience that today we'll be reading some cards. And Claire noticed and recognized just by seeing the back of the cards the Morgan Greer tarot
Yep.
here. And she also says, I like Oracle for healing more so than Tarot. Oh, that's interesting. Um, I think Oracle can go even deeper, especially if there is an Oracle dedicated to certain aspect. The Tarot is more intuitive, but for example, I use Priestess of Light and Kali Oracle. Oh, very strong decks. Both of those oracles help me to look at both aspects and energies of this situation.
They do. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
how about for you, Jan? How would you answer your own question?
Yeah. You well, there are specific cards that point to the shadow. I'm always very intrigued by the moon, by Luna, a card that not only points to the shadow but also points to transforming it, because in the dark night we always have the promise of a new dawn, of a new morning. Um, Same goes for like cards like Ten of Swords and the big one there, the Tower, which represents upheaval, deconstruction, but also again like the Moon card, after the Tower there's always the opportunity for resurrection, for something new, for uh, clearing things, like when you deconstruct a ruin and you have a foundation for a new house, something. uh, Same
Well, I
goes
like to
for.
call the Tower card the divine intervention. The upheaval is very negative, and people
Mhm.
get scared when they hear that. Divine intervention is more gentle way of bringing those energies,
Yeah.
because tarot has their own unique frequency, and that symbolic language speaks directly to our body, to our mind, but also to our subconscious as well.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah. It all depends, you know. I wouldn't necessarily pinpoint one meaning to the Tower card. There's multiple meanings, and sometimes you go a bit more in the face, and sometimes you. I wouldn't necessarily say that divine intervention is sugarcoating, because it's still an intervention. There are still things happening there,
Mhm.
so it's but wording and ta- making your words, or choosing your words carefully, is absolutely important in any aspect of reading tarot. Choosing your words carefully. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Tarot or cards can allow us to have a deeper conversation with our inner child. It can point us in the direction of unconscious beliefs, usually limiting beliefs, and also help us to communicate with our soul and to help understand the path we're walking through, especially when it comes to healing. Usually, when we reach those tools, it's a rather difficult time we're experiencing.
Absolutely. Yeah. 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 Yeah.
So it's easy for us who read tarot to understand how actually tarot can help. So perhaps we could briefly talk about how tarot can support spiritual and emotional healing. Well, first of all, it reveals everything what's suppressed, emotions, in a safe and symbolic way, because tarot is all about symbols. It can name patterns, it can name stories we're consciously or unconsciously repeating. It can bring compassion and point in the direction what's actually needed. It can validate your intuitive wisdom, and it can give you confirmation of what is there, what you've been feeling, what you've been experiencing. And also, it helps to open your heart, because when you have cards on the table, it doesn't matter if you pulled them yourself or if you went for a reading and there is a card reader who has the cards in front of you. It definitely helps to open up, to discover what's unseen, perhaps to see what you're already familiar with. But it makes a difference when you know something and then it's there in front of you. And it can lead to self forgiveness, truth, more alignment. So it's wonderful how such a simple, and I'm using this word in brackets, of course, because tarot is not simple, but a simple tool which is pulling few cards which answer the right questions may be a game changer, a complete game changer, because it can work as a sacred pause when everything is moving too fast.
Yeah. 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 And you point to a very valid point there. Sometimes the cards tell you something you're consciously aware of. Many times it tells you something you're unconsciously aware of, and especially when you're deep in a reading, uh, things come up that come as a surprise or a gift or a warning, and these are these are things that you're not conscious and not unconscious, that you're totally not aware of. And um, and then of course sometimes the doubt kicks in. How is the reading correct? I always say, when the cards, you know, what the message brings are correct, the unknown cards usually are correct or insightful too. So
Mm,
it's a combination. You see the whole spread on the table. There are knowns, there are unknowns, there are totally unknowns, and as long as you can tie them up together in making sense, the knowns make sense, the knowns are known, and then the unknowns give can have confidence that the unknowns are also insightful for you, and that the warnings they bring are something for you to work with, or even sometimes a prediction they bring, because a tarot is never set in stone. You can take actions so that the prediction doesn't manifest. Sometimes you don't want a prediction to manifest, and sometimes it's avoidable. And then you can prove the reader, you can prove your reader wrong, and that's good too. I'm totally,
exactly.
I'm totally there. If I say this and this could happen, and you're making steps in order not to make them happen, kudos, very good. You're
That's the
taking
thing.
action.
David here says, hi, David.
I
I
David.
have been thinking about tarot card interpretations today. I find you really have to tune into your client. This is so on spot, because just like Jan said a few seconds ago, the same card can mean something completely different to one person and completely different to another, because it's not just reading the meaning of a card, it's the entire story the tarot can lie in front of you. And it's like a roadmap. And yes, you have to tune into the energy of the card and the energy of the client itself as well, to be able to interpret that. And I'm not sure how it works for Jan, but for me, it just flows. I pull cards and all of a sudden the story flows. And knowing Jan, it's very similar
Absolutely.
situation
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah, I can remember. I can remember an example that I had a young couple with a young child in front of me. I read for the mother, the father, and the child went off, and boom, on the table came the lover's card. And from the setting, I don't even know what was around it, but from the setting, I intuitively knew. I said, "The man you are with is not the father of your child," and she says, "Yes, that's correct." And look, you can look in 1,000 books, and never is the lover's card connected to the man you're with is not the father of your child. But in the reading, it was exactly what was true. And it was also very significant because the child saw the new man as the father, and there was something playing with the ex, of course. And that's how the whole story came to be. And
And
um, yeah,
that's also a wonderful moment for a tarot reader, because it doesn't matter how long you read tarot, when you get those intuitive hits and you're right, it's very joyful, because it tarot can surprise a reader as well. How many times I have a story just
yeah,
by having two free cards and it all makes sense,
boom,
even
yeah,
though the cards, the traditional meaning of cards, wouldn't say that story. So that's why I always call myself an intuitive card reader, because intuition is, I think, the most important aspect of reading cards. Yes, knowledge. The more you know about tarot, the more you study it, the deeper you can go with interpreting the symbols, the colors, the meaning, the correlations. However, if you don't have that, I was that type of reader that I didn't have any clue about read tarot in general. And I made a reading which was on spot because I channeled that. But when you have those two things combined, then you are just unstoppable. And we
you
have an
are.
interesting question from Claire here. Would you agree that it would be better to find a spread with questions, or to just draw a certain amount of cards and see what insights it gives you? Jan, let's start with you because I'm
Yeah,
curious.
yes, to both questions, especially when look, um, when I read cards for a querent, and many times the person on the opposites comes for, like I say, recreational or a fun reading. They just come to have a reading, to have their cards read. They don't come with a question. They don't come with a problem. Sometimes they're even completely closed off, and questions always point to a certain direction. But when you don't have that, you have the cards have to give you direction. And so when I get a general reading and the querent refuses to ask a question, I just pull out my proven Celtic cross, where the position and the card and the neighboring cards bring the story together, and from there on I read. And um, sometimes I have a client that's behind the wall, all 10 cards, and at the end says, "Oh, that was very interesting." Well, I had no clue whether I was on spot or whether I was totally off track. Uh, yeah, and sometimes that happens, that you have to go purely on intuition, purely on seeing, purely on feeling, purely on what the beautiful cards say, and what the fabulous cards say, and read the fabulous cards.
Absolutely. And I totally
And then
agree.
another way, like I think we're doing a bit of an example today, because when you're, for instance, when you are with a healing situation, that's where you can point questions, put out a spread with questions, prompts that give answers to specific questions, or that point to specific questions that the cards need to answer, and that's a totally different story. But that's how more detail you get from your client, or how much more you're into coaching or healing, because it's not all about uh, fortune telling or divination. It's a totally different thing, and then you can actually go with the prompts and may the prompts inspire you to an answer.
Mhm. I totally agree with Jan. But to me, it's all about asking the right question. I never worked with certain spreads. When I met Jan, I actually got into, okay, perhaps that would be nice to give a reading a certain structure. And in certain situation, it helps a lot. However, to me, reading cards is about asking the right questions, because the better question you ask, the better answer you get. Simple as it
Mhm.
is,
Yeah.
it can't go simpler than that. Spread will give a definite structure, and it works like a map from point A to point Z, taking you on a journey. We have a wonderful book with Jan. I think I've got it somewhere here. I can't see it. Oh, there it is. The Tarot Spreads,
Yearbook.
um, by Chelsea Pipinisi,
Easy.
if I'm pronouncing it right. In this book, there is, I don't know, 52, I think, wonderful spreads, very simple, which when we were going through that book with another tarot reader, a friend of ours, we were like, oh, that's such a great question. So I've learned so much about asking questions. For example, how do you perpetuate to that situation? A brilliant question, which means how do you add to that situation you're going through? What is the influence you have? So wonderful. I totally recommend this one, Tarot Spreads. It also comes within a form of a card deck, not a book as well, which can be fun to use.
Yeah. And I have had one for Christmas, I remember, for the whole year. A spread a day keeps the doctor away. 365 tarot spreads by Sasha Graham. And it's also a very interesting one that even would, for instance, give uh, a spread for depression. So definitely healing spread is in there. So
Mhm.
it's yeah.
Some of them are funky, some of them are funny, but some of them go really deep.
Yep, and some of them are even weird. That's good.
Exactly.
I love weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So
I hope
do
this
we?
answers your question. Obviously, every card reader will have their own way, and that's okay, because that's what I love about cards, that they give so much opportunities to tap into your intuition and just simply do it your way, your style, because
Mhm.
every card reader has their own style of reading cards.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. So we had the shadow cards, the tower, the moon. What about positive cards, Luna? Are there
What
happy
do you mean
cards?
by that?
Uh, Cards, you have cards that bring forth the shadow, and of course, when you go deeper, you want you want to also have a few cards that bring hope and renewal, or patience, or emotional healing, or a new a fresh start, a golden dawn, or something.
Yeah, absolutely. Because within the healing, we usually tend to focus on those negative aspects, those
Hmm.
challenging emotions. But that's where tarot comes in handy as well, because it can give you hope. Because, yes, it can point directly where the issue is, but also can give you an answer to how to overcome that. What's next? What's going to happen if you do the work? And what's going to happen if you don't do the work? But absolutely, having a positive message is always that light in the dark alley.
It is. It is. I think, for instance, a temperance card is a good example there. Um, Temperance, of course, brings balance and patience, but I also saw with temperance, um, temperance is not getting overly excited when you're on a high, because inevitably things will change, and you're going to go. into a low again, and there do the same. Don't get overly excited there, and then you get, uh, the water is never still. But is it stormy, or are you preparing for a tsunami when everything goes away and you get hit by a truckload of water? It's the belief that the low is also a temporarily state can give you solace, that there is renewal and that you can come out of it, and that there is hope for something better. And that's, for instance, what the star brings, a beautiful card, uh, of hope and renewal, and or a new start and new relationships and new friendships in the Ace of Cups, inner peace, as you see the dove in this card, which is special for this one. But I love the message that a card like that brings. The emotional renewal and the healing and new beginnings, that all the aces actually represent. So it's never, and neither cards are just simply purely good or purely bad, but in general, there's cards that bring this positive feeling to a reading, as these three that I just showed, and you have the cards that bring out shadow aspects of the self, like the Tower, the Moon, the Devil, and Death, for instance. Death is also a good card, I say,
That's a
because
really interesting one. Every time
yeah,
I have it on the table with a client, I see how their eyes become so big, filled with fear.
yeah, yeah,
Because there is, just like
the-
with the Tower card, there is a lot of negative correlations, which
yeah.
are not necessarily real and right. Because Death card is not about literal. Sometimes it might, obviously, but to me, it's always a card of positive transformation. I love the Death card.
Yeah. Yes, and sometimes even the death card represents uh, that something uh, is going away, and sometimes that comes as a very positive thing. That something that bothers you, something that's negative in your life, is going to go away. Uh, could be the end of a relationship, or the end of your of this part of your career, where the end of your job is there. There's a reorganization, and you're made redundant. That's also a death card moment. But always remember, that's the chance for new opportunities, for renewal, for growth, uh, and in that perspective, I would say the death is a positive card. Nothing negative about it. It brings change that you sometimes even wouldn't have been able to create yourself, and then be happy that the universe supplies you with the opportunities for change.
When we grow, there is a part of old self we need to let go of because something needs to literally die within us in order for the new beginning to be born.
Hmm.
It's such a deep and misunderstood card, for sure.
Absolutely, yeah, you're
And I
totally
love
right.
that I don't have it with me right now, but there is a beautiful image of the death cards, death rebirth card within the light seer or tarot, um, where
Yeah,
instead of the skeleton and the horse, which is within the Rider Smith tarot, there is an image of a person, but inside of the wearing a hoodie. It's like a cape or something, but instead of the face, there is a vast universe full of light within. And I love that card because it so represents the new light being born inside through the process of transformation.
yeah. And actually, the wording on the card, she didn't only put death on the card, but also the
Yeah,
reawakening and
death
as a
rebirth, exactly.
rebirth, the rebirth word on there. So that also already points to the deeper meaning of the card, that it points to a new start and new opportunities. Yeah, love that.
Yeah, totally. Totally. So, What we're discussing here today, it's actually known and getting pretty popular, and it's something I definitely specialize and go deeper with in my work. It's called tarot therapy. It's a tool which can help to heal. It's a tool for self-discovery and inner growth. And tarot therapy uses that symbolic language of cards to create a story and to help overcome certain aspects, especially the challenging ones. So if you feel stuck within your emotional patterns or trauma, if you seek clarity within relationships, yourself, your identity, purpose, if you want to deepen your self-awareness, or if you're just even craving a compassionate space to open up and explore those inner wounds, I definitely encourage you to find a card reader who does that type of work, because it's way beyond a regular card reading that combines cards with interpretation. So if you have somebody who works with cards and is a coach like Jan or myself, the work can go really deep, because we coaches specialize in asking the right questions.
We do. Yeah, that's part of the job, to know
Yeah,
the right questions and not always
absolutely.
know the answers, because I always say the answers are in the client.
Oh, totally.
Yeah,
But then we know, I can speak for myself and Jan because I know the way he works. We know how to create safe and supportive container where you can be seen, heard, and understood. Um, yeah, and I'll stop here for now.
yeah. What about Luna? What about oracle cards?
Oh, oracles, just like Claire said before, all like oracles can take you even deeper on that journey, especially when there is a certain aspect, certain problem, and the card reader has a deck designed and dedicated to go deeper within that topic. I love working with oracle cards as an extra tool within my tarot reading, within my card reading. I'll always start with tarot. This is my go-to. I will see what's the story. I will read the client's energy. I will see what tarot says. And then, based on what tarot will give me, I make a decision of which tarot deck to use to go deeper and find even more answers to questions. My absolute go to decks would be The Soul's Journey by James Bob Van Praagh, which can show you what you're supposed to learn from that situation. What is that you're supposed to learn but you're not learning? Where is that work which needs to be done? Another deck, The Power of Surrender by Dr. Judith Orloff. Wonderful tool to point in exact direction. What is that we need to let go of and surrender? Sometimes surrender too. Those are my always go to. I use them with 99% of my readings. But as you can see, there is only two shelves above me. There is one more here, all full of tarot and oracle cards, because oracle can be very, very specific and can give you a very specific answer.
Yeah, yeah, and surprise, I have recently started delving a bit into oracle cards, and uh, I had some for my birthday as well. Thank you, Luna.
My pleasure.
And yep, and I think it will broaden my scope. I have I'm learning to work with them. I learn to add them to my tarot readings to give extra depth, extra understanding, and I know within shortly I'll be able to do a reading with an oracle deck only. And yeah,
Totally, that's very possible, and we laugh with Jan that how we influenced each other, because meeting Jan gave more structure into my work and in the way I read cards, and me with my love to oracles helps Jan to open up to other tools than tarot. And we
yeah,
have a question from Ellen here. Hi, Ellen, welcome here on Luna and the Druid. If you haven't heard us before, if you do have your own deck or oracle of tarot cards, make sure to have them handy today, because there will be an opportunity to work with us and use them. But the question is, it disappeared from my screen. What best oracle do you recommend? It's here. I've mentioned two oracles already. The power, I'm not going to get up right now because they're too far to reach them, but definitely, perhaps I'll leave them in the description box. The Soul's Journey by James Van Pran, The Power of Surrender. But it depends, what do you want to actually achieve and what is that message you're craving and looking for. One of the decks I absolutely adore and use them within the tarot therapy is the intuitive life coaching deck, which not just gives you answers to the question, not just points in the right direction, but also allows you to work and journal about certain questions the guidebook contains. And I know Jan has that deck as well. You can, if there is something else, like you want to go deeper within love and relationships, there is plenty of beautiful decks which allow you to do that. So it's important to ask yourself, what is that I want to get from the oracle deck, which path and which direction I want to go in, because some oracles will be very general, some oracles will go very deep, some oracles will be perfect and ideal to work with on the soul level, some oracles will help you to work on the mind level, and some oracles will point in the direction of what is our body needs.
yeah,
When I choose a deck, I always go online and see the cards. On most of the decks, you will all be able to turn around the deck and see at least 2 or 3 images, but I like to see more of cards
yeah,
to see what kind of message is there, because sometimes oracle can be just one word, but for example, the rest comes from intuitive looking at the picture or a drawing. Sometimes oracle can be totally rubbish. That's also a case. Some oracles may totally not resonate with you. So it depends on your practice and what is that. I always choose by the decks who just call me. That's
yeah,
it.
yeah. And what you didn't mention is that many oracles, I would call themed based oracles, like angel oracle or a spirit animal oracle, tree oracle, um, a druid oracle, witches oracles, and um, these are these are things that take you in a totally different direction. Oracles of Avalon and things like that, and the decks.
Angelic oracles, where
Yeah,
angels
angels.
come.
Yeah, I mentioned them, but like you said, the soul purpose oracles, and there's even a life coaching questions oracles and stuff like that. They would be way more suitable for the healing work, and instead of just giving insight, information, and inspiration. And so
Yes.
look for the right titles. There's thousands of them. They're all free form, I would say. They the maker of an oracle creates the oracle for its specific purpose, while tarot is of course multi-purpose. It's a multi-tool that brings you everywhere, and oracles can focus you way deeper into a certain direction, which can be healing, but it can also be understanding of the workings of nature or myths or legends and whatever. So it's what have you there is is a wide scope. A wide scope.
Not to mention that they're way easier to read than tarot, because you can grab a guidebook and the message is there. You don't have to tap into your intuition. Obviously, it's very good when you do that. But
Yeah.
even at the beginning, it's way easier to read oracle than tarot, in my opinion, because tarot may be overwhelming with all the meanings, with all the cards. Oracles by design are more simple. However, that's not always the case. And Richard mentions here one of my favorite decks, which is the Healing Heart Oracle by Ina Siegel, which is I think one of top authors of oracle decks. I have plenty of them. I love also her books. I resonate with her work, the way she designs her work, and I actually have prepared for today Heal Yourself Oracle as well.
Wow. Good.
Luna and the Druid, can you recommend a good Angel's Guide Oracle deck?
I'll leave
At the
that to you.
beginning of my work, I was very into working with angelic oracles, and Doran Virtue was the top author of those. There is plenty of good decks which work with angels. Sorry, I need to turn around because this I can actually grab. My favorite is the Sword of Light. Sorry for too much light. Sort of trying to show it on the camera, by Radley Valentine. It's the deck which is connected to Archangel Michael, which I am connected the most. It's a general one, which gives you beautiful, simple, and yet deep messages. Let me pull just one card to show you. This one was coming from the, not sure if you can see it because I have a light here. Perhaps I need to change the setup. But it says, let it go. This situation no longer serves you. Allow me to sever your energetic connections to the past so you can embrace the future. As you can see, very simple, straight message, which actually gives you a lot of information already. There is a lot of symbols like blue butterfly, which to me represents transformation. There is also a guidebook, which brings the message deeper. I also like the same author, actually, Radley Valentine, the angelic questions, where you can ask a question and the angels will answer it.
Cool.
And David says here, I like your approach, Jan. It's so broad.
Hello, David. Thank you. So, we're having cards on the table. It's inevitable, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay.
All right.
Shall we do some reading?
Absolutely. And guys, as I said at the beginning, now it's the time to grab your own deck if you have one. If not, we'll do it for you here. We're going to ask 6 questions today. How we're doing it, Jan? Shall we do a pick a card of reading? Because I feel like some different energies here. So I think a pick a card.
Pick your reader, and we pick the cards. What I'll do, I'll paste in the live chat and later in the comments the questions one by one. So the people looking here can do it. Let's do an enter.
Because guys, you asked me about the oracle cards. I will stay with the oracle today. So Jan will pull tarot, and I, for a change, will pull an oracle. And it's up to you if you want to go with tarot or oracle. Perhaps you want to go with both of them. Use your intuition. And the first question will be, what part of me is ready to heal? What part of me is ready to heal? If you have your own deck, now is the time to pull a card for yourself.
So I have one.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I have an OWL card too. Bit of nudity.
Yes. Ooh. So let's
Ooh.
start with you.
I have the Empress. What part of me is ready to heal? So when the Empress is ready to heal, it's your. I would say there's a few meanings, a few answers there. If there's something with your mom, is there something? Um, you see the mother and the baby there. So is there something that you need to heal with the relationship with your mother, but also if it reflects on yourself, it's a part of self-care, uh, love yourself, and inspiration, and showing up as the best version of yourself. In this case, yeah, in beautiful weather by the tree.
Mm, wonderful.
Yeah.
If you chose my card, um, Spirit is not going to be gentle with you today, because we have a victim consciousness. I had to take away my light so you could actually see the cards. What
Oh.
part of me is ready to heal? A victim consciousness. Perhaps you're in a turmoil, in a struggle, but instead of seeing how you perpetuating, how you got yourself into that situation, you blame others for, oh, this person did this to me, or the universe is treating me badly. Whatever story you're telling yourself right now, please stop and turn it around, because at the end of the day, trigger warning, every day it's us who make a decision. It's us to make a decision to act like a victim instead of taking responsibility into our hands and say, okay, it was my decision which brought me in here. And some of you may say, but that person did this and that to me.
Yeah.
Well, it's all about setting boundaries, because at the end of the day, people treat us the way we allow and let them treat us.
Yeah, and always, Luna, we can always remember the phrase, it's not what people do to you, it's how you respond to it.
Exactly.
And
Exactly. So I don't think I'll be
don't
the
allow
judge
it.
today.
Second question.
Second question is, what wound lies beneath this? So
Yeah.
what is actually the core wound? What is the major and the deepest issue lying underneath? I'm still shuffling. Okay, there it is. Not surprised.
Yeah. Shall I go first again?
You can.
Yeah.
Yes.
I pulled the Ace of Cups here. So uh, the wish for renewal, the wish for rebirth, the wish for opening your heart again for new opportunities, forgiveness. So unforgiven pain lies beneath this. Pain that you haven't forgiven yourself or others lies beneath this. So give yourself the chance to forgive, to begin again, to restart emotionally, to have an emotional reboot. Love that.
If you chose my cards, I feel like it's going to be a continuous story of the first one, because it's inner child. What
Oh,
happened to us within our childhood, but not only the childhood, because the way I see inner child is all the traumas or the emotions which are stuck within us. The reason why you either suffer or go through this challenging moment is unresolved issues. So inner child is calling here to be seen, loved, acknowledged. So if you chose this card, I encourage you to do some inner work. Meet your inner child within the meditation and have a conversation with them. I happen to have my signature coaching program, which helps to heal inner child. It's the absolute base of my work. Whatever other coaching program I design for clients, we always tend to work around inner child one way or another, because so many aspects of our inner child is actually screaming in our everyday life. And often that victim consciousness which came through in the previous question and the previous card pull, comes from our childhood and inner child.
Yep.
Moving on to the third question. What has this wound taught me? What is the learning? What we've learned, and what is the lesson that that wound is teaching us? I'm already smiling.
You're already smiling. Then you go first because
Okay, this time I'll
I'll
go
give mine.
first. Phoenix rising. It teaches us to rise. It teaches us that even when we're going for the most difficult challenge, there will be the time that the challenge will come to an end and we will be able to rise, even if it's from the ashes. But Phoenix always rises up and flies away stronger, because healing process, as we said at the very beginning of our sessions, and of this series, it's a process of transformation. Healing takes pain, transmutes it into understanding, and then into love. So this card, if you chose this card, encourages you to do the work and gives you hope that the renewal is available and it's there. So rise.
So what has the wound, also the other inner child wound taught me? We have the Lady of Staffs, which in the alchemical tarot points to the Page of Staffs, or if you compare it to the Thoth deck, the Princess of Staffs. So the wound has taught me that there's a renewal, there's inspiration, that I can step out of it, that um, I can run away from the situation by just taking the first step forward on I would say on a wave of fire. We see it, the fiery stuff. So the fire represents passion and purpose. So um, stepping away from it is possible. Renewal is possible. Finding your purpose in life is possible uh, by healing your inner child, by healing your self care, your motherly love, and step wildly into the unknown.
Beautiful. What am I being invited to release? What am I being invited to release?
Yeah, I'll put it in the comments. Yeah.
Unfortunately, I cannot do that.
But I have it here.
Yeah,
There it is.
no. What
What
am
am I?
I? What am I being invited to release?
I have this one. Ooh.
Shall you start?
Yeah, because we're in the princesses or the
Mm,
pages, the lady of swords. Um, she's inviting to release her inspiration, her musical abilities, her uh, stepping into the spotlight. Um, so both cards, both princesses here, both ladies uh, are 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 releasing their old wounds, their old pain, and they're showing up. Uh, like the Princess of Swords or the Lady of Swords here is yeah, she's stepping into the spotlight. She's showing herself. She goes for inspiration and honesty and being worthy of being seen. So uh, she's invited to release her her fear of showing up, her fear of stepping into the spotlight. Yeah.
Mhm. Now, this is really interesting because what am I being invited to release? Release healing. And if I were to interpret just the word on the card, I would say that perhaps you're going through a period of healing and you're very holding on to and going through it and going through it. And you've convinced yourself that you're broken and you need to fix yourself in brackets, and that there is more and more to be healed, and that this journey never ends because there is more and more and more you discover to be healed. Relax, take a breath, and just enjoy the process, even though it may not be the easiest one. However, what I see from this card, which brought my attention, is this girl here is holding the light within her hands, which means the light is within you. So perhaps you're trying to find some outside sources outside of you. You're trying to find different modalities, different healing aspects. You've tried, I don't know, Reiki, sound healing. You're constantly looking and searching and searching and searching for something which will help you. And that something is actually within, that all you need to do is to look within and find those answers within your own soul, within your own intuition, within your own inner guidance. Because I promise you, the answers are there. The way out is there, because the way out is to go within.
Fifth
Interesting.
question. Yeah. Fifth question. What medicine or energy supports my healing now? What medicine or energy supports my healing now? Start the deck and pick a card.
I'm smiling.
You're smiling, so you go first.
Okay. A soulmate.
Oh,
There
yes.
is someone available for you to help you along your path. And soulmates are often misunderstood as a romantic partner. Yes, that's a case, but not always. Soulmates can be your friends, your pets. Soulmates are soul teachers. And yes, some of them some of them agreed to be a romantic partner. But in many cases, it will be a friend, somebody who you even will meet and have a conversation which will inspire you to change your life. Those are those souls destined to stand on your path when you need them the most. So perhaps you're going through something difficult. Reach out to a friend, reach out to someone who will understand you. Perhaps you feel drawn to have a conversation with Jan or myself and to go through that process and to go through some sort of healing. Take it how it resonates. However, open up to receive help from another person.
Yeah. So, what medicine or energy supports my healing now? And that's the energy or the medicine brought by the Nine of Cups. And the Nine of Cups is definitely that moment when I talked about the Temperance card earlier today, that we're having the highs and we're having the lows. Uh, Always remember that when you're healing, you're going, you have been going through a low, and you're going for a high. Look at the deer or the Capricorn that's on top of the hill now, and he has you have reached the highest point there. So the support that you're getting is that there is a way out and that there is a way forward, and the wheel turns. If you have been down, inevitably it will go up again. You're healing yourself, you're working with your emotions, you're stepping in the spotlight, and boom, there you go.
Wonderful. What is my next gentle step forward?
Yeah, I'll put it in the comments again.
And for this one, because I mentioned guidebooks, how easy it is to work with Oracle. For this one, I'm actually going to use the guidebook and see what it says here.
You do the
You ready?
guidebook? Yeah, I'm ready. I have a card. Yeah.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, what is my next step? Gentle step forward. Well, I'm afraid it's not going to be a gentle step, my dear, because we pulled the Knight of Staffs, and there's hardly any gentle steps that this one takes. But if it is gentle steps, it's well, the knight in this case has stepped off his horse, so it doesn't necessarily take the quick steps. Instead of the knights we usually are on horses, this one is going to walk, and so taking it less easier. Don't take it too quickly. It's a very fiery energy that this one brings, in combination with the emotional energy of the two cups cards and the caring energy of the Empress. It's slow retrieval. It's not rushing it on your horse, but get off your horse and walk along there. Interesting contradiction that this card throws up.
Yes.
Especially,
And if you chose my card, we
yeah.
have alchemy here. And I'm going
Wow.
to use, instead of interpreting it, I'm going to go with a guide. It says, it is extremely important that you focus on letting go of any negativity and beliefs that no longer serve you. And there is also an action you can take. Rub your hands together for 40 seconds, then place your hands a few centimeters apart. Visualize a golden ball of light. Focus your intention on what would you like to create and place this intention into the golden light. Then move your hands towards your heart. Feel your heart expand and grow full. Ask your higher self to guide you towards your deepest expansion and evolution. Because alchemy is always about transmuting something, taking pain and transmuting it into love, into understanding, into growing, into lesson, whatever your lesson is teaching you. Yes. I hope this was helpful.
Yes.
Let me quickly go through the comments because we were
Yeah, we
busy.
have one question from Ellen.
Yes.
Interesting question. I have a job interview next week. How will it go? So we're stepping off our healing thing there. Okay, I have a jumper. Ooh.
Yeah. I pulled guidance.
Yeah, I'll pull two cards. I pulled the Eight of Swords first. So you're gonna experience. It's gonna feel bad. The experience is being trapped, being shielded as well, being being blindfolded. So you'll probably by the end of the week have no idea how it will have gone. That's what the Eight of Swords says. So that it will end up in a bit of a time of confusion and uncertainty. And you'll.
But to me, I just want to add one thing, if you don't mind, me.
Yes, you can,
To
yeah.
me, Eight of Swords, it's always self-imposed because
Yeah,
if you would
absolutely.
look at the image, she could actually free herself, or maybe not particularly in this deck. However, Eight of Swords is that anxieties, those things we create in our head, which are not necessarily always the truth and the reality.
Absolutely, yeah. So I'm saying the anxiety comes from you will probably not know by the end of the week where you stand on this. And I pulled the second card that also fell out, and that's the Seven of Cups. saying that there will be more choices. Even if this one doesn't work out, you'll have more opportunities to look in a different way. So it's uncertainty for now, but choices will present themselves.
Mm. And the guidance for you is say what you think. Perhaps this job interview will require something from you and your honesty with yourself, what you want to gain from this job interview and job itself, how much you want to, how much money you want to make. Everything is very important. So you'd be upfront and say what you really think. That's really important here.
Yeah. Yeah. And if they're not offering it, don't take the job.
That's a
What
good
about
one.
that? That's also a
Yes,
good
I love
advice.
that. I
Yeah.
love that.
Stand
Um,
strong. I can remember I just talked about with a client last week who also had a problem with getting a job. I say you're aiming too low. Aim a bit higher because you're overqualified for what you're doing. And she says yes, but I'm already a bit older. I said, well, I remember at the age of 51, I applied for a job within my level, and I didn't get the job at first. But I went after it 2 weeks later. I called the HR manager again. I said, "Do you have already someone?" He said, "No, no, no." I said, "Yeah, you rejected me. Yeah, I think we should have a second discussion." And I was hired anyway.
mm, wonderful.
Yeah,
Yes.
just defeat the odds. It's stand strong for yourself.
Yes. Apologies if we missed any comments while we were reading cards.
I think we did quite well.
Yes. Thank you so much, guys, for being here with us tonight on this beautiful journey of healing and discovering how tarot or oracle can actually help us within the healing journey.
Yeah.
With that said, I won't be here next week because I'm having some wonderful guests.
So I'll
And Jan,
take care of the Luna and the Druid Castle.
yeah.
And
So
but in two
see
weeks
you.
we'll yeah, see Luna
Yeah.
in 2 weeks. See me next week, and looking forward. It's wishing everybody a lovely summer solstice. The weather is beautiful here in Ireland. I hope wherever you are, you're having this same lovely weather for the coming days, and really wish you enjoy that. And looking forward to see you next time. Goodbye.
Bye.